Hey everyone, this is some nerdy guy back again with another video, and today's video is of course a pickups video, but it is not a limited run games pickups video. It is something a little different. I got some games from VGP again, but then I also got some games from Red Art Games. They had a big spring sale, and a bunch of their games were like 75% off. So each game, I think the most expensive one was $18. Everything else was below that. So that's really cool. I got a bunch. And then same with VGP, they had a spring sale as well. So I'm just going to run through these because I already opened the box. I was excited. But we have Tandem, The Tale of Shadows for the Switch. And same thing with these. I don't think I paid over 20 bucks for any of these. I think they're all $14.99 or $9.99. We have Unsold. Some of these are Red Art games as well. But they're English one. Well, some of these are UK. Some of them, so I guess to backtrack, Red Art Games, they do publish games for ESRB in the US or North America. But a lot of their stuff is PAL region. And a lot of their stuff has only been released in PAL region. So luckily the Switch and the PS4 are both region free. So that doesn't really matter. And if that's the only physical way to get them, I definitely want to get them. So they always run. Cool looking game. And it came with a cool standee, acrylic standee figure. And then we have Scoutfold and Usper. This looks like a pretty cool game. At first I thought, okay, yeah, this one, there's one of these that is not what I thought it was, but this one is definitely like a Castlevania clone. Metroidvania, whatever you want to call it. And then we have the other one, Scoutfold Shrouded Insanity. This one is a little bit different. It is like a top-down view game. Unless if that's just one part of the game, which is that screen cap right there. Maybe that's, like I said, maybe that's just one part of the game. Because some of it looks like there's side-scrolling there too. We have Crashbots. Just like goofy little games like this. Like you just never know. And they're just cool to have. So I don't mind paying out $7.90. I think this was $7 for this one. To get a physical copy. For the collection. Battle Axe. Which I thought I had this on the Switch, and I guess I didn't, so I went ahead and just got this one, because it was really, really cheap. Can't go wrong with cheap. Pinkman Plus. I liked that it looked like an old black box NES game. This looks like an Atari game, almost like Pitfall or something like that. So, it could be interesting. Thought it was neat. We have Robozaro. Another cool little platforming, quirky little game there. We have Rava. Is that how you want to pronounce it? Rava and the Cyclops Curse. Again, just another random platforming game. This one is like an NES style 8-bit one. So this could be really cool. I'm excited to try that out. We have Glam's Incredible Run Escape from Count Dooku. This one looks more of like a mobile app game, kind of, to me, but for how cheap it was and to get the free shipping, I just threw it in my cart. And then we have Colt Canyon. I thought this one looked interesting. It's a top-down game, but it looks like it's got some blood and gore going on and stuff like that. It looked interesting enough. And then last but not least, this is not a Red Art game, because I think most of those were. But this one, I remember playing a demo of this a long time ago when like I first got my PS4. I was just trying out different games and demos for ones I thought I'd be interested in. And this one came up, and it's like a visual novel, and I never really got that deep into it, obviously, because it was just a demo that I played. But for how cheap this was, and just from it coming back to memory, I was like, oh yeah, maybe this game is cool. But it's called Zenki Zero. Or Zonky Zero, however you want to pronounce that. And this is the day one edition. It comes with a soundtrack, so that's pretty cool. And this was only 10 bucks, brand new. And it's Spike Chunsoft, so the people that do Danganronpa and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Zero Escape. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. And then now the piece de resistance here. We got the big Red Arts Games box. These also consist of Switch and PS4 stuff. I know I've kind of mentioned before, or I may have mentioned before, maybe not. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve on collecting for the PS4, just in case there's, you know, some kind of... I mean, it won't happen for a while, honestly. But while they're, like, dirt cheap right now, in case there's ever a time where they're like, yeah, we're shutting everything down for PS4, even though most of what you can get on the PS4, you can also get on the PS5. But, you know, for the sake of having physical copies of the games and things like that, I thought it was worth getting these games. Okay, so we have our stack of Switch games right here, and then we have our stack of PlayStation games. So, and some of these are PS5 as well, so that's pretty cool. Get them on the most modern console. Ooh, some of them are rattling around in there. Hopefully they didn't get scratched up, because I will be opening these games to play them. I am not a sealed collector. My friend Taylor is somewhat of a sealed collector, and he likes to give me a hard time about opening his stuff, and I like to give him a hard time about keeping his stuff sealed. So, without further ado, just get right into it. Tamumari Complete Edition. Anime, girl. It's got anime in there. But it's a 2D platformer slash shoot 'em up, or bullet hell shooter, because you can see there's some platforming going on there, but that panel right there, there's some shoot 'em up going on, and some waifus going on, and a Joker wannabe going on right here, so that's interesting. But yeah, for like $10, I was like, all right, throw it in the cart, why not? We've got Concept Destruction. This just looked like a fun little game. The graphics actually look kind of cool. You're like little Matchbox cars from what it looks like, or Hot Wheels cars, and it's like a demolition derby, but yeah, you're just in little Hot Wheels cars doing your thing. So that was pretty cool. This one looks awesome. Red Death. It's a shoot 'em up game. Really, really cool bullet hell shooter. There was a couple that I missed out on. Unfortunately, I had them in my cart. Two specifically, they were shoot 'em up games, and I'm already blanking on what the names of them were. There was like two of them, and I waited too long to check out, and they were sold out by the time I got to check out, so that kind of sucked. But oh well. We got Smelter. This game looks really cool. It's another Metroidvania type game for PS4. See there, got some Metroidvania goodness going on there. You know, I sometimes get a little tired of the genre, but every once in a while I'll get a kick for it, and it'd be cool to have, you know, just different ones to try out when I do get in the mood to try those, or to play those. And then we have Cyber Trash Statics. It's a cool cover. Yeah. Sorry, I was like looking at the screenshots here. It's another like Super Nintendo NES-ish style graphics. It's almost, I would say it's a Metroidvania, but kind of reminds me a lot more of like a Contra game in a way. So pretty cool, pretty cool. This one I really wanted to jump on because I don't think this is ever going to get a US release. And I think it does have one on the Switch, and I kind of wish I would have got it for the Switch, but I didn't see it on the Red Art Games website. So I don't know where else released it for the Switch. But that is the Sunsoft is Back collection, which is pretty cool. I do like some Sunsoft games. Unfortunately, there's only 3 games on here. But like I said, I only paid like $15 for this. So not really too worried about it. But it's cool to see some of these old games coming back, especially if they're games that we never got. These off the top of my head, I don't remember if the US ever got these games, but I don't recognize them, so probably not. Unless if they were called something different. But I thought that was very, very cool to have that. Last Night of Winter. I thought this was a really cool looking game. He plays this little skeleton guy here. He's got his little owl friend. But it's like a top-down, almost like a Zelda type game. But you're playing as a little skeleton guy. And a lot of these games on eBay, I was trying to look at pretty much each one I was buying just to kind of see like comparison, like how much am I saving really, like how good of a deal is this really. But honestly, a lot of these on eBay were still selling anywhere from 30 to 40 bucks new. And all of these were like 10, 15 for the most part. Like I said, I think the only one was Smelter I paid like 18 for. And yeah, like all the other ones were super duper cheap. We have Galactic Wars EX. It is a shoot 'em up game, and I didn't realize it was going to come in this cool big box, so that's neat. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know what it includes. It doesn't really say. I'm gonna assume a soundtrack, maybe a poster, but yeah, that's really cool, and I like the graphics of it. It's neat, and I like my shoot 'em ups. Now we have Jets and Guns 2, another shooter. This one's on PS5 though. Like I said, I just figure I stockpile on these while these were like probably the cheapest prices I'm ever going to see them at. So you never know what's going to become hard to find, and I'd rather buy it now than wait a couple years to watch Radical Reggie talk about it and then it's like $80. I'm like, so just get it now. And then this one, it's kind of cool. It comes in this slipcover, just a generic Halloween slipcover. Well, I guess it's not generic because it does have the title of the game, Silence the House, there. But it's like a horror-oriented game. There's a Ouija board on the back. And this was like the only horror game that was on there. So I was like, yep, I'll get it. Horror games are cool. Even if they're bad, they're sometimes worth checking out. So decided to go with that. And that is all the PlayStation stuff. Now for the little stack of Switch stuff. I say little stack, but there's like 10 games in here. No, there's more than that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 13 games. I couldn't count because I kept meshing them all together, like counting them, recounting the same one over and over. All right. So we got some Switch stuff. Let's go with these slipcover ones first. We have Vectornom. I thought this was a cool puzzle game. Kind of reminded me a lot of, not really Rhythm Heaven, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of exactly what game it reminded me of. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it just looked like a cool puzzle game. I thought it was neat. You know, almost kind of looks like a mobile app game where you're trying to just like fit things together and all that kind of stuff, but it looked interesting enough. And now we have Hover, and Hover looks really cool. It's like a 3D adventure game, almost like a PS2 era, kind of like adventure, open zone kind of looking game. Almost kind of looks like Bum Rush Cyberpunk, which that game was really cool. So hopefully it'll be of the same quality. We shall see. This one, I don't really know if I could even show the name on YouTube. I mean, I'm not monetized, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But we have the Suicide Guy collection for the Switch. Again, this is only $10. I remember seeing this game from Beat 'em Ups a long time ago. I think he did one of those videos that he had like a series where he would just do a randomizer for Switch games on the eShop, and then you would have to buy it and play it and see how it was. And I'm pretty sure this was one of them on one of those episodes. So I thought that was funny. That I didn't know they had a physical copy of that. We have Galaxy of Pen and Paper, +1 edition. Excuse me. There's a little PC there. I like the pixelated graphics, but yeah, this one is actually an RPG. It's a turn-based RPG, which is really cool. And I enjoy the art style. I think it looks neat, because that's what I always say about everything. It looks neat, it looks cool, but you can see the combat on one of the screenshots right there. Cool stuff. I got this one just solely based on the cover. I don't remember exactly what kind of game this is, but Blazing Beaks. He's got little ducks on there. I love ducks. Good ducks with their guns. Hell yeah, brother. I love ducks. Mask of Mists. This is like harking back to like the old school first person like RPG adventure games. Of course, not on the same level, but like in the same vein as like Skyrim, like Elder Scrolls type games. Um, Probably even older than like the ones older than that, like Might and Magic and like different things like that. And there's one that I'm blanking on the name of. I blank on a lot of things. I remember Metal Jesus Rocks talked about it. It was like a really old first person PC game, and they like did an HD remake of it or something like that. It's like in the same vein as that. Inked, The Tale of Love. I thought the art style of this looked really, really cool. It's like a puzzle adventure game, kind of like um, Tunic in a way, even though Tunic's more like a Zelda game, which this kind of does look like a Zelda game in a way, but just with a more like hand-drawn pencil and pen and paper art style, which I really like, and the fact that it's like a little samurai, not a samurai, but it's got like a Japanese art style to it. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I enjoy that. Another shoot 'em up. We have Soft Star. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at the screenshots, but yeah, this cover looks really cool. I like it. I dig it. There's some screenshots there. Shoot 'em up. I'm definitely gonna get a lot of use out of my my Switch arcade stick that I end up buying, because whenever I play shoot 'em ups, I prefer to play them with an arcade stick. I just think it's a fun way to play them, because most of these, I mean, obviously these weren't released in the arcade, but most other like classic shooters that you hear of, like Gradius and fucking Ikaruga, like all those Japanese ones, like they were all put in arcades. Dantonpachi, like any of those. But yeah, so I play all of my shoot 'em ups with an arcade stick. And we have Omegabot right here, which is pretty cool. It's another like adventure game, kind of like a Zelda-ish type game. He plays this little robot guy. Cool stuff. And then we got I always butcher this name, Shino Ruby. Waifu. This is another shoot 'em up game. Pretty cool stuff. Anytime I can get shoot 'em ups for cheap, I'm jumping on it, because shoot 'em ups are always very desirable later on, and it's like I already like the genre of game, so the fact that I can get them cheap and not have to wait and try to find them later when they're really expensive, I am always about that. We have Promenade. I can't pronounce things. But this is another like 2D platformer puzzle game. This one I wasn't really sure how to feel about, but I don't know. I was like getting down to the wire on like just flipping through all the pages of stuff that they had available, and I thought this one was worth taking a shot on, but I don't know if I will like it very much. I don't know. I might, and if not, I can always trade it or sell it to someone else that does appreciate it more. So there's that. And then last but not least, we have Croiler Sigma. Is that how you pronounce that? But this is an RPG game, and I've never seen it before, but it looks pretty like traditional anime RPG type game. There's the characters on the back. You can see some of the gameplay there on the screenshots. Yeah, again, just for how cheap these were, it's like, and I thought for sure most of these would have English releases, but none of them did. At least not that I could see. Anytime I would do an eBay search, it was all PAL. So I was like, if that's the only way to get it, I will buy it that way. And then this one was on my radar, so ended up picking that one. And yeah, this has already been like a 20-minute video. I just wanted to show the things I got from Red Art. I don't know if any of you guys caught on to the Red Art sale, spring sale. There was a lot of cheap stuff. Like I said, most of these that I looked up, they were going for 30 to 40 bucks on eBay, plus shipping and tax, which of course there was tax on these as well. But just way, way cheaper to get them. They were so cheap. They're just cleaning out their warehouse or something. I don't know if Red Art Games is going under. I doubt it because they're still announcing new releases and things like that. But yeah, they must have just had like an overabundance of some of their older games, older releases or something. I don't really know. If anybody else has more knowledge on that, please let me know, because I am kind of curious about that. But you know, sometimes companies just have sales and they just happen to be really good sales. So yeah, got all these games from Red Art. And then this stack here from VGP, which are also Red Art games for the most part. And yeah, if you like this video, if you like game collecting, whether it's retro or modern, I've been doing a lot more modern stuff recently, but like I said, that's because they're just so cheap right now. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve on some of this stuff and get it while it's cheap. But I do still like retro collecting, so I'll have to, you know, make a better effort of making some retro videos, because I do still pick up retro pretty often. I actually have a bunch of Super Nintendo stuff that I've been meaning to show and things like that. So anyways, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until the next one, see ya.